do not chase numbers when you podcast. In fact, many people say don't even look at numbers.
Right.
All that matters is you're bringing valuable content to the audience you're trying to reach.
Yep.
When you interview people who others know, like, and trust, you capture new listeners. And then the retention strategy is, can you keep them? The brand doesn't have to be the hero.
Right. Yeah.
Right? The content and the impact
Yep.
that you, the listener, you, the viewer, are taking this and doing something differently with it today and in your leadership, you're the hero.
What are the things you do to grow your brand? Join me as we take a look at how the best in the business build authority and create true fans through video podcasting. I'm Josh Lewis, and this is Grow Your Podcast, produced by the Cincinnati Podcast Studio. Okay, you start this podcast. What did you expect was going to happen, and did it happen?
Yeah, so there was a chart. There was a chart of little stick figure people that somebody sent me when I started the journey. And it was like, if 15 people tell 15 people who tell, like, the compound interest effect of podcasts. We happen to work with many family businesses and many international families who own companies in North America, and also holding companies who own a portfolio of businesses. That's part of our niche.
Yep.
So part of our global niche is international family-owned offices that own businesses throughout North America.
Yeah.
So we also work with a lot of international companies doing business in North America.
Yeah.
So what I thought was really cool was that as I would interview people, their home countries would pop up as we just had 37 people from Germany listen, and from Mexico listen, and from Italy listen. And it showed me that, like, when you interview people who others know, like, and trust, you capture new listeners. And then the retention strategy is, can you keep them?
Yeah, right? That's true.
And how do you produce the next episode? So, so I underestimated the power of others sharing their episodes.
Okay.
Because those who share their episodes amplify their episodes.
Yep.
Right. I also underestimated the international reach that a podcast has.
Yeah.
And, the reality is it's borderless. Podcasts are borderless. So that's been really interesting.
Yeah.
I think that was really interesting to me, of like, oh, so, let's say when it started, 30 people took an hour to listen to a conversation.
Wow.
And then last week, 170 people. And then the next week, 380 people listened to our content. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of hours. And that's just compounded and grown.
Yeah.
So that's been another really, like, they say do not chase numbers when you podcast. In fact, many people say don't even look at numbers.
Right.
Because none of it matters.
Right.
All that matters is you're bringing valuable content to the audience you're trying to reach.
Yep. Consistently
over time.
Yeah.
And the numbers don't necessarily matter.
Yeah.
Of course, there is a part of me who likes to be competitive and likes to understand.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing that's been interesting for us is we've been running since 2018. So we're at episode 230 plus.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't make it over the 1 year hump. A lot of people don't make it over the 10 episode, the 50 episode, the 100 episode hump. We've taken a couple of seasons off.
Yep.
Because of strategically needing to focus those energies on other things.
Yep.
I think we've done that, I want to say twice.
Okay, yeah.
One was for a decently extended period of time.
Yeah.
And we still have people, because we never moved or deleted our episodes.
Right.
So we still had people sharing that they listened to a recent episode, because it's live and it's out there.
Yeah.
And if you are listeners of podcasts, you look for topics. You go, I want to listen to that.
Yep.
So it never went away, even during our seasons of pause.
Right.
Do I wish we wouldn't have done that? Of course.
Sure.
But we did, and it didn't fail us.
Yep.
The brand was still, once it ramped back up, But those are some of the things you learn through the experience. You know, you never want to stop.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to because of other priorities, and we just had to accept that.
Yeah. I mean, there's always limitations, and like for you started up until this. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Up until this year, you were primarily an audio only podcast, right?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The only thing we did via video were webinars from probably mid to late 2020 to 2021. Now we have a digital learning platform that has video on it.
Right.
So those videos, though, we never shared.
Okay.
They just kind of sat in a holding tank, which was our subscription model. We never leveraged videos to entice you to say, if they're producing this, I wonder what else they're producing. So when we married up, it was, we want to up the video game, right? Video is where it's at. Every platform says they're going to be focused on video. Recently in a Microsoft shareholder meeting, Microsoft bought LinkedIn. LinkedIn shared that video is the way to be. Like it is the way of our future. Microsoft had LinkedIn share at a shareholder meeting that we're going to be focused on short form video inside of our platform going forward. And that's where it's at for me. You know, I'm a B2B business. Everything I do is supporting businesses and their teams. And, you know, that's good affirmation that this is where the game's going. Now, it was already going that way, right? YouTube and all of these social platforms is where short form video is already. But for LinkedIn to make that announcement of like,
hey, big deal.
Be expecting it. Here's what's happening. This is where we're creating more technology advancement to help this happen. And it is a big deal. Video lasts. So audio, you know, we tried to put out little clips that had audio and had like a visual moving that made it look like a little waveform. And, you know, those were cute. But they didn't connect as much because you can't see the emotion on the person's face delivering that message. You can't see the facial expressions and the intent that connects with you as the listener or the viewing audience. But we created a lot of them. We had a lot of those little waveforms that made it look like, oh, something's going on in this visual. Where if it's an actual human talking, you want to click listen. Right? If you don't have your platform to listen automatically.
No, that's good. Now, okay, so you started out on audio. You've obviously transitioned to video, working with us. It's been awesome. Let's talk about like your prep process. What does it look like for you to prep episodes?
So I've got to go back to originally I over prepared. And I think you could feel it in some of the episodes. And the worst mistake I learned as a content creator is giving your guest notes. Because what it has felt like to me in giving my guest notes is that they then say, okay, here's the expectation. Here are the things I need to share. Here are all the preparations I want to deliver. Here are all the messages I want to say. And it felt to me too robotic. And I wanted to really create back to, again, the original vision of the podcast was Dr. Janet Reed, one of my board members, one of my dear mentors, the person that if it weren't for her, I don't know if we ever would have taken this journey of Talent Magnet Institute, of the Unconventional Leadership podcast, which we can talk about the rebranding and all of that. But she said, Mike, think of yourself and all of the powerful conversations you have over coffee and a meal. That's the kind of authenticity you want to have. Those are unscripted dialogues, right? That's what people want to hear. So when you get into podcasting, I started really over preparing, and I listened to some episodes or some creators that I know they do prepare. I've learned that the best thing I can do is spend 5 to 7 minutes with you to make sure you're okay before you come onto the show. Anything you want to ask, any topics, I'm not going to layer you up because as my guest, I already know what I want to draw out of you.
Right.
I do tell individuals I will not interview you on our podcast unless I have some level of connection and relationship with you.
That's really helpful.
Right?
Yeah.
So people all the time with content creators reach out. I mean, every day we all get asks about, I'm, repping this author and she or he talks about this subject and they would be great for your podcast because you have the word leadership in it. Right. And then you're like, you haven't listened to one thing that I've done. And I have a really good friend, John Thurman, who he and I talk about this. We talked about it all the time because he would experience this too. Right. As a content creator, you just get hit with guest request. So I say, boy, I really appreciate you recommending that I meet with her on our podcast. But what I'd like for you to do is just create a connection with me and let her and I go out and grab a coffee or meet her in our office or her come to me or we have a conversation. So when I know you and I know your hot buttons and I know the areas that you're passionate on and I'm framing up, do I think you fit into the category of an unconventional leader?
Right.
I may have an opinion as to why I define you for that you may not even see in yourself.
Right.
But I'm going to draw it out in our conversation.
But you have to have some sort of relationship with them in order to know that.
Do that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I do now. I have in the past done interviewed authors that I admire, other podcasters, other content creators that I appreciate. I value their content. People who I know created brands that I respect and that I believe in, that I didn't know intimately well.
Okay.
But I read your book and I follow your content and I listened to 3 episodes that go, we need that conversation here. I want to pull that out again. You remember that episode that you talked about this? That's what I want to jam on, right? Let's talk. So just being intentional in the design. So I do have a master spreadsheet and I keep track of names. And then I, even with myself, I've got little I don't know if that topic would resonate as much now. And I'm trying to kind of architect and design. I've always been the one who has curated the names from others.
Yeah.
And then I've thought through who's going to be on because again, I have a team behind me.
Yep.
But they're not the interviewer.
Right.
So, a team member may say, oh my gosh, you've got to talk to my friend so-and-so. But either, I don't know them yet.
Yeah.
Or I don't really resonate as much with their content. Right? That doesn't mean I agree with everyone I've ever brought on.
For sure.
But there's certain things I'm like, I just don't know if that would be the kind of content my audience would want to learn about, hear about, ask about, share feedback about. So we curate conversation with our audience. We listen to what they're saying. I always wish we had more feedback.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
Your feedback matters to a content creator.
Yeah.
But we curate enough to know, all right, I know if we talk about these 6 topics this year, people are going to really appreciate it because that's where the teams we're working with in a B2B setting.
Yeah.
It's what everybody's dealing with.
Right.
So let's produce content there. I also know that there's topics or subjects that my guest has experienced.
Yeah.
That if I draw that out, others are going to go, oh, I never thought about that. I never thought it was safe enough to talk about that. I've never verbalized that happened to me too. And I've experienced that as well.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I try to look for because we're trying to spotlight unconventional discussions in our content.
Yep.
And for people to go, oh, that person experienced that? I would have thought that only happened to me.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Nothing only happens to you.
Yes.
Somebody's experienced it somewhere.
Yep.
So we're trying to draw those out as well.
And I think what I love about, as somebody who's been editing the past 20 some podcasts, I think one of the things I really love about those conversations that you have is I feel like it's unconventional, but the reason why it's unconventional is because it's uncomfortable. And it's like, those conversations, like to just have them for the vast majority of people because we're afraid of emotions or because we don't know what to do with them or we're trying to look a certain way, like to be able to just like present them as like, and this is something you do all the time, is like you're just an open book. Like you're trying to be as transparent as like makes sense for the context and whatever. Even if I might be like, oh wait, he's saying that, he's going there. It's like, well, yeah, because we're humans. And I think that's what I love about video podcasting and how you are using that tool is it's something that like is so human, and you're able to see the connections you're having with your different guests, and like and you have a wide variety of guests, which is super cool. So anyways, yeah, that's been super fun.
So that's you brought up another really great point. When you become a content creator and you want to be authentic, not everyone's going to appreciate what you say. I remember having discussions fairly early on when I realized that what really motivates me is real.
Yes.
And authentic.
Yep.
And unconventional.
Yep.
In order for me to do that, I want to lead authentic and unconventional. In order for me to lead authentic and unconventional, I have to share things that may not be normal in the world, right? Which that's part of the problem. I dream of one day when unconventional leadership is the conventional model, but until then, we're going to keep hitting on it. So I say all of that to say, as a content creator, you have to accept who you are and just own it. And know that if people don't like it, they can tune it out.
Right.
I remember I even had conversations with some people on my team that I'm going to go there for me personally and with my guests in ways that other people may not appreciate, respect, or value.
Yeah.
We may have someone not choose us because of the content we create. We may have someone decide not to work with us because of the content we create. And I feel called and led to say, that's okay.
I would actually probably argue that that's really great that those people might be self-selecting based off of hearing your podcast. Because like, even though I think you would say this, like you believe that what you all bring, whether it's the podcast, whether it's TMI, whether it's Centennial, like what you all bring is actually what you think is just good for humans. But if they're not interested in that, it's like, well, let's not waste each other's time.
We're not a good psychographic connection,
exactly.
Right? But it is something that you also have to accept. Because it could be the case. Now, I've never been told off or told negative about anything we've created, but we've got into some really deep discussions on here with guests. And you know, the reality is people have been like, hey, I really appreciate you having that discussion because I've never talked about that situation that happened to me. And you just shared it in a way that now I don't feel so isolated, alone, et cetera. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create a movement. But I think it's important to share because if you're just getting started, you need to own, if you're so moved to create video content and create content in general, you're being prompted for a reason. Right? Is my strong belief. So you need to accept it. And you need to move into it, lean into it as quick as you can. It doesn't mean that's going to be comfortable the whole time. Right? And that's okay. That's part of what, like, that uncomfortable thing, after you take so many reps, it'll go, well, that's pretty comfortable. And I'm stronger at it because I took more reps. But it's probably why you're being moved, because you don't hear someone talking about these things. And it's time for somebody to talk about them. So create the content. And lean into the content experience.
At what point in your podcasting journey did it feel like, I feel like I'm comfortable doing this now? Or was it just kind of always that way?
At what point? I don't know. There was something around episode 20. That was like, I really like podcast days.
Interesting.
I I still feel like, and I love the work I do.
Yeah.
But when I'm in the studio, there's just something about the experience. I think I love the authentic conversations.
Yeah.
And I love that part of my work world is having them all the time. I do it all the time.
Yep.
But I know as I'm interviewing my guests, I know the talk tracks that I'm having with other people. Mm-hmm. So I'm curating my guests so that the talk track I'm having with you is one that's connecting with 118 of my listeners or 1,000 of our listeners, right?
Yeah.
And that's really powerful. The fact that our YouTube content is creating 10, 15, 21,000 views in such a short period of time means that, hey, the amplification of the video content is real.
Yeah. Right.
And instead of just having listeners on certain platforms listening, now I've got YouTube viewers and I've got LinkedIn viewers and I've got content from months ago still being liked and commented on on video.
Yeah.
Right? On LinkedIn. People are still like, oh, when did we recently? Well, we didn't recently post that. That was from 3.5 months ago.
Right.
But the algorithms are feeding the content. That is really, really powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say that it was actually, I think my comfort zone came from something totally different.
What was it?
So I was asked, in 2019 to speak at commencement of my high school. And we were podcasting.
Okay.
We were putting content out, subscribe and listen and share with a friend. But one of my high school baseball coaches reached out to me to speak at commencement.
Wow.
And I was like, and my immediate response was, why in the world would coach want me to speak at commencement?
Because you were an angel in high school, right?
I mean, I was pretty good, but I mean, I did nothing, too stupendous, right? I wasn't the best athlete. Sure. I wasn't, I tried to be a really hardworking student and care for people. And, and I remember at the time, one of my team members, Chris, was like, I was like, why in the world would coach ask me to speak at commencement? Like, that's for people who have done something else different than what I'm doing.
Gone to the moon or something,
right?
Yeah.
And she was like, he's asking you because you should be the one who speaks at commencement. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Why? And she was like, Mike, think about the stuff we create, the conversations you have, the motivation you have, and you graduated from this high school. So they want to perpetuate this. So when that happened, I came into my comfort of public speaking.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I came into my comfort of all of my life experiences, my belief systems, my motivations, my attributes, my family, how I was raised, where I went to school, what our family does. That's really a blessing and a privilege. And I should stop the old imposter syndrome bull of like, I should own that. Right. And I really think that experience of being asked to speak at something that I didn't feel worthy. And thanks to some people who kind of pushed me into saying yes. They did push me into saying yes. And I really enjoyed that speech. And it was like, okay, maybe this is something I should be doing. And other people would say, well, you're a natural, you're a natural at it. You're this, you're that. No, I do it. And I've got enough reps. And I accept it. Like, this is who I am. And video makes you even more authentic.
Oh, yeah.
Because I move a lot.
Right.
And on audio, you can't see that. On webinars, you can see that, which were terrible when I would lead my own webinars back in the 2000 to 2022. But I recently had a guest on, my cousin and Emmy award-winning news anchor, Catherine Nero. And she was like, you got to accept who you are. And if you move your hands and you hit your mic occasionally, try not to, but that's who you are. And that's what people want. They want your authentic self. They don't want you trying to manage in a box and all of that. So it's really helped me do that, and then built confidence in public speaking and has helped me in many ways. And I know even when I public speak, not everybody connects to my material because I'm talking about authentic, real, unconventional topics. Things that I know are important to the audience, whether they like it or not. Right? Which also means they may not like it. They may not be ready for it. They may not be hearing it, but I'm always looking for a few people in this audience who are like, hallelujah, this is finally being discussed. Right? And I did get a hallelujah from the far left corner of my commencement speech. And I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
For the people in the back.
I wish I could do it now from then, of course, because I'm stronger at it and I've gotten a lot more reps. But it was a really cool experience. Trying to capture high school seniors who want nothing but to be out of the auditorium. And, or the gymnasium or off the football field and trying to speak to a few of them that are like, that's me, right? It was a really cool experience. But that's what helped me get more comfortable. So it wasn't the reps on the mic.
Fascinating.
It was a different experience that I was like, you know what? Maybe I am made for this. Maybe this was part of where I need to be. I call it promptings. Like God wants me right here, right now. And now we're at, again, over episode 230. And that's with taking a couple seasons off. Right. We've been podcasting since 2018. I still have avid listeners. I love you so much for being an avid watcher now. Who like give me updates on all the recent episodes that I've talked. And these are like significant leaders in our community who are gaining value from the content we're creating through the Unconventional Leadership podcast. And that's pretty awesome. I know there's, I feel the same way of podcasts I listen to. Right? There's episodes that I have that like, this is the exact episode I needed right now. That was such great content. Or it was like, I've never even thought about that. Right? But because of the host, I respect the fact if he or she's talking about this, that's intriguing. I've never thought about it. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to click into it. And that's a sign of a really good host. Where you follow their brands. It doesn't mean some of my best podcasts, I probably only listen to, 10, 20% of the content they create.
I do the exact same thing.
But I scroll and go boom, boom, boom. Like we just took a recent trip to Florida and my wife and I listened to 2 podcasters. We probably listened to 5 episodes, right? The kids had earbuds in or were sleeping. And we were like, let's listen to this one too. Hey, do you want to pick a topic? All right, great. Let's listen to it. And that was, good long form. Many of the ones I'm listening to right now are more long form. And, where you come back after a break or whatever. But I do it because I trust the host and I value the perspective they're bringing in life.
I love that.
So.
Does your brand need a video podcast? Maybe you don't have the answer to that right now, but I bet you do have answers to questions like, do you need to create video content for your marketing? Do you need to create a lot of video content for your marketing? Do you need to create brand awareness? It's questions like these that we'll walk you through in our free video podcast fit assessment. In this self-paced assessment, you'll be asked a series of questions to kind of help you understand whether or not video podcasting makes sense for you. And by the way, it's not a fit for everybody. If you want to see if the content creation system of video podcasting makes sense for your brand, just click the link in the description. Let's walk back a little bit because I remember when you started posting about this and getting some feedback on like LinkedIn and stuff. But why did you change the name and the branding and everything for the Unconventional Leadership podcast in the first place?
It's a really cool journey. We started, I'm going to try to word this as succinctly as possible, but it was a journey and it was an experience. We started recognizing the reason why people are connecting with our brand is the authenticity and the trust and the belief that the topics we're discussing are what they need. And what is the content? What is the general theme of the content we're sharing? So again, for those listening and watching, we were the Talent Magnet Institute podcast till, I don't even know, episode 160, 150, 140, 170, somewhere around there. And our team was like, you know what? We got a lot of listeners. There's a lot of people coming back. The brand had built itself up enough that like people are beginning to know what Talent Magnet Institute's about and you know what we're trying to accomplish. I would say that we didn't know what all we were trying to accomplish. We were a startup in 2018 as a brand extension who launched the business as its own separate entity in January 2020. Great timing. I am a survivor.
Right.
But we recognize like the reason why people are connecting with the brand and our clients and customers and the teams we're working with need our help is because we're helping them think differently about leadership. So we started going down the path of different phrases that meant a different type of leadership.
Okay.
And we were working with a team called the Homegrown Collective. They were helping us through some of this. And in the midst of all of the brainstorming that was going on about a different type of leadership, someone at some point said, it's because it's unconventional. And we want to draw more listeners in who think unconventionally, who even the phrase makes them go, all right. What's that all about? Because I like that. I like that. I like that, the unconventional. It means something. It has not just a brand attached to it. It has a meaning attached to it. When I say unconventional leadership, you say, and everybody typically would have a definition if you ask them, right? And so we went through that whole process and we did the, hey, check the box 1, 2, 3, or 4, leave it in comments, what resonates with you. And it just kept coming back to our team that like, it certainly feels like a really clear winner that we're going to rebrand this thing. So we did that. I mean, I think before we only had like an icon with our name and it mentioned like, certain aspects of leadership growth in the frame of the icon. Then we started producing images with guests and myself. And we also realized as a creator, the host is the one building a lot of the trust.
For sure.
Right? So 100. What we also realized is that at some point, Mike, you've got to put your face on the brand. And some would say, well, you've always been the face of the brand. And it's like, but we had a little icon, our flywheel. And putting the face on the brand, rebrand. I think you even helped us go through some of this thinking through as an expert. I was reaching out to you and Brian separately at the time. Like, hey guys, here's what we're thinking. Love to get some of your perspective. So that was part of it. Now that unconventional leadership has taken off. And it's even become how we've rebranded our internal programming. Right. We have a program called the Unconventional Leadership Program that teams experience. They come in, we create a custom journey for you in our unconventional leadership programs. We're getting ready to offer where organizations can even register team members into a seasonal experience that's an unconventional leadership training program. And because it's really resonated.
Wow.
So I'm really thankful for that journey that we went down. I'm thankful for the timing. We did it when we finally figured ourselves out. As a startup, you really don't know you may think you know what your customers want. You can do all the viability research work and all this, and you can have an opinion. But until you go through a few iterations and really start listening to what the customer wants versus selling your product, we moved from selling a solution that we thought everybody wanted to designing the solution that everybody was asking for. And it kind of led us down this path of like, okay, people are engaging with us because they want their team to think unconventionally. Gotcha. They want to lean into the uncomfortable, the dissonance, the challenging cultures that we all deal with.
Yeah.
What if we just leaned into it and said, you know what, let's get really comfortable with uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And let's think about leading differently, where authentic self, I'm not just giving lipstick to it.
Yeah.
I'm actually executing against it, and I'm leading differently.
Right.
And leading differently, that probably was one of the 4 options that we put out there.
Yeah.
You know, the phrase unconventional attracts you was the research that we did.
Yeah, that's great. And I love that you all went that route too, because I think it does such a better job of kind of letting people know what to expect with the podcast. And then when they get into the content, that is the theme. That is all you all talk about.
Yeah.
And so, I love that.
Yeah. And think about that. Like Talent Magnet Institute, although I'm very proud of our brand, you didn't have that same emotional connection to it.
Right.
You're like, who are they?
Yes.
Not what content is being discussed.
Exactly.
And that was this shift of like, it's all about the content. That's all about the conversation, the resources, the tools, the information, the insights you're going to learn. You know, the brand is like the brand doesn't have to be the hero.
Right. Yeah.
Right? The content and the impact
that
you, the listener, you, the viewer, are taking this and doing something differently with it today and in your leadership, you're the hero.
Yes.
We're just the resource.
Right. Right. And that, I mean, that's like, whether doing content creation or in your actual business, like your audience, your customer has to be that hero. They have to be the focal point. They have to be the one who, like, I think I was listening to a podcast today. Oh, it was I think it was the CMO podcast with Jim Stengel, and he was saying, or in the podcast, they were talking about how it is there are some people who just like create things to put it out in the world, and the person saying this was like, I would call them like artists, right? They're not content creators. Content creators have somebody in mind. They're trying to create for somebody.
That's correct.
It's not just pure self-expression.
Right.
It is, I'm trying to provide value to these people. Right. I care about this topic or whatever so much, and I think I have something to say, and I want to bring it to these people in the way that only I can bring it. So I love that so much.
Yeah, I'm going to feed off of that a little bit. When you say that, I even feel like with the content we create at the Unconventional Leadership Podcast, I believe the guest has something to say and may or may not have their platform.
Yes.
And I know the power that lives inside of them and the things they've done uniquely and the way they lead and the way they treat people and the way they've worked through some really hard stuff that it is who you are. Anything you experience is you. Yeah. And that's a part of your story, your iceberg, right? Yeah. So I'm trying to have that experience with my guests that like I've literally had people get off the mic and go, I've never shared that with anyone.
I love that so much.
And I can't believe I just did that.
Wow.
But it really feels like there's a relief. I have this relief, and you took me there, and I went there, and there are things that have come out in my episodes, our episodes, I didn't even know was going to come out. It wasn't scripted.
Yeah, right.
I didn't know this person was dealing with that or had this in their past, or what really motivated the thing I do know about you, what was behind that.
Yes.
I didn't even know that. But so I've worked on creating that safe space for the guest, knowing that they can tap out at any point.
Right.
But I've never had that happen. Wow. 235 episodes or wherever we are right now.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone say, oh, I don't want to record that.
Yeah.
I've had people go, that was awesome. And you're right. That was kind of it's like the root cause analysis. And I didn't even ask 5 whys.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of it too, that, you know, back to the design, the curation of dialogue and impact. I'm not trying to be an artist.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring value that's helpful for our listeners, where they go, you know what, even if I can't do X, Y, or Z, I can take what I just heard and I can do something about that.
Yep.
Right. So
I love that. Now, okay, we talk about the curation piece. What does it look like for you? Like you said, you have a list, a spreadsheet or something of different people, but like, you are a busy guy. You have you're over 2 businesses. You're a dad to 3 teenagers. You're a husband. All these different things. You're a friend. And so, like, what does it look like for you to plan out and curate? Like, okay, I want to talk with this person, and I'm probably gonna like go here. Is that all in your head? Do you put all that in the spreadsheet? Do you have a specific time you sit down to do this, or is it just kind of like on the go?
Yeah, I would say that I'm intentional and strategic. Yes. Like, one of my strengths is strategic.
Yeah.
And the visionary component, I hear things differently. In the role that I'm in and all of the organizations and teams we support and all of the humans that I'm around, I hear things differently. God's given me some gift to filter the world in some way that I go, oh, we need to talk about that. Right? And then who could talk about that? Because I know a lot of people's personal stories. I know a lot of people's personal journeys. And sometimes I ask them, would you be comfortable discussing that? And they're like, in most of the cases, it's like, you know, I've never discussed that before outside of, you know, I'd love to share about my journey on it. So I think through, I've got to be really strategic of who are the guests. And who are we investing the time in? Unfortunately, I can't say yes to everyone.
Oh, for sure.
And I can't say yes to everyone who asks. I can't say yes to everyone who's recommended. I can't even say yes to everyone who I think about.
True.
Right?
Or, you know, whatever, like you have a good relationship with them. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a good fit for the podcast.
Correct. So that's been unique. And I curate names. I write names. I brainstorm names. I accept names. I ask my team every so often, hey, is there anyone else who comes to mind? Sometimes I'll have a guest on who will say, you know who you should talk to?
Got it.
And I'll go, gosh, I've never met her before, but I'd love for you to make an intro. And then it could take me 8 months.
For sure.
To process that connection, to have the couple conversations, to feel comfortable enough. In other ways, it's like, you know what, you're right, I'd love to get her on next week. And I've done that too. It just depends on how I'm prompted and so moved. So there's intentional time. I have this thing on my calendar called focus time. And, you know, every quarter, I think about the next quarter of content. And I don't think about too far out. I used to think further out. But what I learned is I want to be really relevant. And I don't want to talk about something 4 months from now that I really need to be talking about this. Right? So I try to put like a value to each episode and go, I need to create X amount of impact, and who could fit into that slot, and what are the topics that we're discussing currently with teams, what's going on in the world that's relevant to the behavior of decision-making and problem-solving and change management and personal journeys and things that may hit. I also weave in and out of personal and professional life intentionally. Because I believe as an unconventional leader, all of it matters. So I even go through that journey in most episodes where I bring up something that may have no relevance to the internal team. But if you have an internal team, everyone on that team is experiencing something like that, right? And I'm trying to help equip us to go, you know what, I probably should ask that question. I don't even know what my team's hobbies are. I don't know. I know that so-and-so has a lake house, but I don't know why, and did they grow up on a lake and all these things. all those extra conversations that we have on the Unconventional Leadership podcast should help you hear something and go, you know what? I've never had that conversation. Maybe I should. I've never taken notes about that. I've never thought about X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
I'm going to spend some time on that. May not be today.
Sure.
But next time I do this planning time, I'm going to make some notes about that.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things I do have. I mean, I keep track of lists, authors that I read, content that I hear, people who I'm like, whatever message they just shared, I'm liking it.
Yeah.
And I need that on this episode. We need to go there in that conversation based on an example they shared on a social media post, a thing they talked about in a meeting. I was sitting having a afternoon drink and appetizer with a client, and she got really excited and heated and passionate about a couple topics related to team and culture and impact and decision making. And I literally said at the end of the meeting, I was like, I kind of wish I would have hit record.
Right.
Because what you just shared is, we need this on our episode. And she was like, I would love to come in and talk about it.
That's
right?
Awesome.
Now, was it fully as authentic as it was at the table?
No.
Maybe not, but some of it was.
Yeah.
And I literally was taking notes, and I'm like, so the problem with being a content creator is we think the world in terms of content creation.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh man, I need to replicate that.
Yep.
What I just heard about that brand, that person, that experience. So I'm here taking notes in my full focus planner, and I'm all right, if we come on, I'm going to talk to her about change management. I'm going to talk to her about accepting mistakes as a leader and apologizing to the team. And I'm going to talk to her about being clear and the impact of not being clear. We've went down this whole theory of when change management, when change happens with you and for you, you're for it.
Yeah.
When it happens against you and to you, you're against it.
Yeah.
And we've been talking a lot about that lately because, my goodness, all of us are dealing with change.
Right.
All of us are dealing with issues and difficulties and things that are shifting so fast that we can't even keep up. You know, people have said, like, we're not strategic planning for 3-5 years. We're strategic planning for like the next 6 months to 3 months.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, so when we're talking to people about that, we're like, oh, tell me more. And then I'll be like, you know what, Josh, I'd really love to have you on an episode, because everything you just shared is everything I'm hearing from 31 other companies that we're working with, and they would love that perspective. So I'm thinking in terms of podcasts. Like you think in terms of content creators, we think in terms of content creation.
Right.
And what resonates.
I'll listen to these podcasts. They will ask the expert, what should I even talk about? And it's just funny listening to you. It's like, you have no shortage of what to talk about because you're doing other things. You're actually doing things. You're having conversations with real people. You are having these lunches, these going out for drinks, these different conversations. You're talking with a lot of people all the time. And then you're able to hear themes and figure out, okay, this is where I need to go. So I just feel like that's part of an important thing. Even like for this podcast, like I feel like I've had a much clearer vision with this. I started a version of this before we started the studio a long time ago. And I was basically like talking with my wife about things I'm learning, right? But I wasn't having the same amount of conversations.
I think I listened to a few of those conversations.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
and it's like up till like we started the studio, and we've had like over 70 people come into the studio. Actually, we probably had about 100 now come into the studio for different tours, and like we've had all these conversations. Yeah. And I'm like, man, like I know what people need to hear.
Yeah.
And this is really cool. So I just think as people are trying to like figure out, what do I say? I think part of it is like, You need to be living life and like interacting with people.
Right.
And whether it's in your business or whether it's a hobby or whatever it is, the interaction with people is super key.
Yeah, and that should be where the stories and the passion come from, right? So there are things, as I think about guests, there is a dynamic I thought I would at least reference. Not every person who's going through something is it appropriate for them to talk about it.
100%. That's
in a
very
public
well
fashion.
said.
So there are times when I hear something that 7 people are going through in the last 5 weeks, I go, you know what? I know someone who I could have come on, talk about that topic, and then it will be helpful to those 7 teams.
Almost be the voice
it's around the voice
that.
Around them. So sometimes, yes, I bring on, CEOs and executives and decision makers and HR leaders who are executives and who are decision makers who are navigating change and challenge and growth with themselves and their teams. Other times it's like, you know what? I've got this really great faculty member who this is his jam. This is her focus. And I'm going to really go deep on, tell me about team experiences right now on these topics and how could we lead differently? So I'm trying to provide examples in our content. I referenced this earlier, where when you're listening to our content, it's almost like it's coaching.
100.
It's encouragement. It's inspiration. It's getting you to move and change in some unconventional way that is what you or the team you support or the family you lead needs from you right now. Right? So if you're like, for example, we recently talked about schedules. And I say, I'm intentional and I'm strategic. So my calendar is organized. My life is organized around being able for me to be able to do things that are important to my children and are important to me. So recently on Monday, on the Monday we were recording this episode, was one of my kids' birthdays, right? So I went to the driving range with him and he loves orange chicken. So we went to get orange chicken for lunch. I made enough time to go back from the driving range in Orange Chicken to go play 9 holes of golf. I put it into my calendar physically and emotionally. And then he was like, Dad, I got a couple friends who want to play golf with me tonight. Are you okay with that? I'm like, sure. Right. But I had the time allocated. And as busy as we are and as much content as we create and as many clients and organizations we support and teams we work with and employees and consultants that we partner with and nonprofits that we support and for-profits that we're helping work through strategy and execution and change management and acquisitions and growth of businesses, I make time to do things that I know are important for my kids to see me at and are important for me and my wife to enjoy as well. Right? So it's all structured. It's all thinking through how we execute our busy schedules and fitting it in. Now, what I will tell you is what I just told a friend this week about podcasting. This is intense, right? And for me, this is intense. So, what led me to the journey of saying, hey, Josh and Brian, and I think you guys kind of even approached me about, because we've been friends for a long time and you guys know my journey, is like, man, if I could do what I do best, which is not editing and not creating videos and visuals and doing the creative design and really thinking about the design experience, if I can come in and have the conversations and then walk away and know that the quality is going to be far better than what we used to create. And I had some really good editors editing our audio. I had some two really good editing teams. In 204 episodes, we only had 2 companies produce the 204 episodes. And then we switched over at 205 to where we are now with Cincinnati Podcast Studio. I've had some really good, talented people. But I used to hit record myself. And I used to have to make sure everything's working. And I used to have to make sure I only had probably 2 episodes that actually didn't record. And they were great conversations. You can't ever fix that because you'll never have the same conversation twice.
Yep. But that is impressive that it's only 2.
Yeah. And we had a friend of mine who helped me kind of learn the technology early on. My buddy Chris Medine. I had a couple friends on call if I needed them to guide me, but the quality's different when you're not an expert at video creation, and you're not an expert at lighting, and you're not an expert at creating space. So those conversations were just different. I really saw it. We did a lot of webinars, and if I'm managing all of this happening right now, I'm all over the place.
Right.
And it wasn't that I wasn't paying attention to you. It's that, like, is that light on? Is that light on? Is that light on? What's the time say? What's the lighting? Oh, a bulb just went out. What do I do?
Yeah.
And then you're in the middle of an episode and you're like, that actually doesn't look good. And oh, shoot, the camera's on. And then I'm moving around because I move my body language. If you watch our episodes, I move. And it's like, and I've got to make sure, wait a minute, I've got another guest coming on because it's a webinar. And I've got a chat box happening, and I got all this stuff. So I'm moving my eyes, and it doesn't even look like I'm not paying attention to you. You're talking. I asked the question.
Right.
And I got all this happening, right? That's the real feel that some of you watching this may go, well, yeah, that's what I've been doing for 5 years. Me too, since 2018.
Yeah.
And it's almost 7 years.
Wow.
6.5.
Yep.
And I wanted to do something different. It was time to elevate the brand.
Yep.
It's an interesting journey. I've learned a lot from you guys. I've learned, like, we didn't even use the clip art from each episode that we created for like 90 episodes.
Yep.
We never even added it to the episode. So it was just the bland logo.
Yeah.
That is our logo and is our emblem. And I love our logo and our emblem.
And it
stands
does
for something.
look good. Yeah.
But I should do that with every episode. I didn't know you could have different artwork for every episode and all these things, and catchy, and some of the, the titles and the images are like, I had one person say recently, we look like we are in an intense conversation.
Right.
And I'm like, that is exactly what the Cincinnati Podcast Studio wants our viewer to see.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what they're saying.
Right.
So all of those extra things are helpful and powerful and brand elevating and hopefully valuable to the listening audience. And to my friends who are thinking about content. Like, if you're thinking about content and you're executing content and you're doing content creation today to make an impact, I think you should consider partnering with someone who that's their jam, right? You're the expert at the content you're discussing.
Yeah.
I'm the expert drawing out these discussions and knowing what people are thinking because I'm in the room where it's happening. Right. But I did not go to school, learn from, self-educate on how to do all of this.
Right.
And it just, it definitely helps elevate and connect differently when you've got expertly produced stuff. Now, I know everyone says you can whip out your iPhone and create 4K experience, and you can, absolutely. Totally. But I couldn't I spent a lot of money on all of this. I mean, I have a lot of tools, and for some reason, it never looked as good as the person who told me that's the tool they use. I'm like, well, I can't make this camera do something. I spent $700 on it.
Right.
Now, I know that you're like 700. We spent
you can get good cameras for $7.
But I'm just no expert in it. So the whole, the effect, I couldn't create what I wanted to, and it felt like it was holding us back.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, I love that because I feel like, well, there's a quality piece, but then there's also like, I think my biggest thing for when I am like, hey, you should use us for your podcast is Like, what's the system you need to have in place to be consistent? And to provide the most value. And if it's here, great. If it's somewhere else, great. If you can do the things, that's awesome. Like Todd Henry, he does his stuff at home. Like it's great. He's got a system down. But if you just thinking through how can you be consistent, you don't get to 230 some episodes by not having some sort of a system. But I think the other piece too is like, it sounds like you were dedicated for the long haul. And that's another thing I've been hearing from people who have been doing this for a while, who've had some measure of success, is like, you have to be committed for the long haul.
Yeah. And we were, because I'm trying to create a movement.
Right.
And we always had that in mind too. It's like, if we're going to start this, it's a lot of commitment, but that's what we're about.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it concerns you at times. You're like, oh, again, we took a couple seasons off.
Yeah.
Because I needed to allocate other resources. And I kept telling even my board, I've got a board of directors and some advisors. I'm like, as much as I love creating content, and they all know it, like they know that this is my jam, I love to be in this conversation. You run out of resources.
Yeah.
Financial and emotional and time. And you have to make strategic moves.
Yes.
For me, it's far less stressful being able to show up, schedule the meetings, because you're right, I would produce a lot, and I had a system. So I would record the files, listen to them, make sure they work.
Right.
I was great. Make sure I got 2 separate mic files and a main file in case needed, and they all work. Yes. And then I would hit upload.
Yeah.
And my editing team would, at the time, they would crush it and create what's needed.
Yeah.
And then push it out into the sphere of channels, all the channels. But it still was a lot that I was trying to control.
Yeah.
And that was distracting.
Yep.
And this allows me, we've built a system.
Yeah.
And it allows me to show up, create the content. You're a storyteller. You design thinking about the audience in mind. So you're crafting the edits and the adjustments to ensure it meets the need of you, the audience. That's your craft. That's your jam. That's your expertise.
Yeah.
It's not mine expertise. So,
which is, it's great. We all need each other, right?
We all need each other.
My very last question is, I'm curious, what has been for you the biggest or one of the biggest impacts that showing up consistently, having the podcast, what's been one of the biggest impacts that has made? It could be on you personally, could be on the movement, it could be on your business.
Yeah, I think it's probably on the movement, which does impact me personally, which does have a impact on business.
Yeah.
It's when I'm out and people say, hey, that conversation you had with on such and such, that was awesome.
Yep.
It's been interesting. I've had a few times where someone has really been passionate about what they heard.
Yeah.
And the example I've shared. And I was like, oh, great. I don't remember which episode it was in.
Right.
Because you have so many. We're releasing weekly and you're cranking through content and you're creating. But to me, that's a positive affirmation of keep doing what you're doing, because you're creating content material. Even when we went off season, I shared earlier, when we went off season and stopped recording for a while, people were still listening.
Yeah.
And I was still hearing when I was at places that, man, that episode you recorded with so-and-so was so good.
Yeah.
And I know her for the last 13 years.
That's
and
crazy.
I never knew that. Or, man, what you shared with this one guest shared, I've dealt with that 3 times in my career. And I never thought about handling it the way he handled it. Or I know I should have, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know that's why we're trying to draw out unconventional leader stories that take steps that are different, aren't comfortable, that are different. And that's probably the most profound thing for me is just hearing that, because that means that we're creating content that's clicking, that's connecting, that people are appreciating. And that's my hope in all of this, is that we keep doing that to the point where the movement is happening. And because of that, it draws more and more listeners in who want to be a part of the journey. Right. And, so that's, again, I think those are the most real motivational experiences for me personally, is when I hear that, when somebody taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, Mike, I didn't know you did a podcast." I love that one. I'm like, for cool. 6.5 years, we've been doing a podcast, but I listened to this thing you put out and my gosh, that was so good. And I've subscribed and I've gone back and I've listened to a couple other episodes and I didn't know you knew so-and-so. And that's also pretty cool,
man.
And it's like, I've been talking about our podcast for 6.5 years, but that's also the challenge with content. Like, we had audio. So if you didn't click my one link to listen to it on Apple Podcast or Spotify or iHeart or where, Amazon Music or Audible or wherever you listen, if you didn't click it, you wouldn't know. Now that we're doing video, people are seeing it more often. They're like, man, this is out there. This is so good. And you create, and again, as I mentioned earlier, like, I've got people commenting on stuff that we posted 3, 4, 5 months ago.
Right.
As if I just posted it yesterday. So that's the other really cool part that you guys are helping us amplify, which I appreciate.
Thank you so much for doing this. I super appreciate it. And if you guys want to listen to the Unconventional Leadership podcast, just click the link in the description. I've got it all there. Mike's LinkedIn is going to be there. And especially if you're like a leader in any form or fashion, like, check it out. And if you have questions, you should totally reach out to Mike. Like, he would love to talk with you. His team would love to talk with you and figure out like how to help you just get better at being a leader, especially an unconventional leader. So thanks so much, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh.
Hey, if you're getting any value out of this conversation, would you please like, subscribe, rate, review, share this video, do all the things, and get the word out about this podcast. We are really trying to help podcasters like you, brand builders like you, use video podcasts in the best way possible. Thank you so much for your time, attention, and trust, and we will see you next time.